Amazing. Let's get started. Super excited to be here and really looking forward to what will be a fun discussion, I hope. I'm sure. Manish, let's start with you. DeepMind is truly committed to building AI that serves all of us, equally. Could you start by telling us a little bit more about Project Vani, which is your collaboration with IISc, and the impact that you hope it will have on AI development in India? And how do you, in general, see Vani and all the work you're doing at DeepMind contributing to AI models that have the linguistic diversity that we need for these things?
Yeah, so it really started with, again, our quest to democratize access to information because I consider you and I, all of us in this room, to be the privileged ones who have information at our fingertips because we speak, we understand English. I wanted to see, look, I mean, what about that laborer's daughter in Chhattisgarh? How do we empower her with access to that same level of information that you and I have? And ultimately, the same power of AI, as you get all of these very powerful LLMs, how do you make sure they handle all of these languages of the world, not just those like English, right, which are spoken by the more advanced sections? And also to researchers, it's a delightful thing because I mean it's such an fascinating challenge, the diversity of languages that we have, and also the diversity of ways in which the same language is spoken. So we have this saying called "Kos kos pe badle pani, char kos par vani," which inspired this project Vani. That let's really try to capture the diversity of spoken language in India. And we started with this goal. The project is going in 3 phases. By the end of phase 3, our goal is to collect speech data from each and every one of the 773 districts of India and capture, hopefully, through that, the full diversity of languages, dialects, accents that we speak. And so far, what we have done is we have completed phase 1 in collaboration with ISC and made data from 80 districts, over 14,000 hours of speech data that has been collected covering 59 languages. And of these 59 languages, 15 are what used to be zero corpus languages. That means there was zero known digital data for those languages. So by the way, I mean, we are on our quest to build multilingual models that cover every language in India, at least, which is spoken by over 1 lakh people. And guess what? There are over 125 such languages. And I was told 72 out of those 125 languages were zero corpus languages. Languages spoken by lakhs of people, millions of people, and no known digital data on those languages. So very kind of a sad state of affairs. And this is just a humble attempt to start making a dent. And one of the companies that's been an amazing partner in that journey is a company called Karya. Manu, you may have heard of. It has an amazing CEO called Manu, who's been, again, doing this fantastic work. So very, very excited to work with partners like that in that journey.
Thank you so much, Manish. That was not the hope with that question, but I appreciate it. I think it's been genuinely the most incredible joy for us. We actually work with all three. We work with MeitY, we work with Microsoft Research, we work with DeepMind. And one of the things we actually remember from our work we're doing with you in Karnataka is someone saying, I have the same respect for Kannada as I have for my parents, right? And there is this just deep love for languages in this country. And I think that's really exciting. Kalika, we'll come to you. Your work at MSR has been transformative to the AI ecosystem in India. And you've often spoken about how modern speech technology supports only a fraction of world's languages. How are you approaching this at Microsoft through Project Vellum? And how are you thinking about empowering the intermediaries as you launch Vellum?
So before I do that, can I say I am so jealous of the Vani project as a researcher, only as a researcher.
Come join. I mean, this is an open project. All of the data is openly made available to the entire world. Come join.
I think I'm a great fan of the Vani project, truly. So coming back to your question, so, Vellum is a project that we've been working on for a little over a when we looked at Vellum, why would it be different from, say, the technology that's available to everybody in this room to do that? And we kind of narrowed it down to some of the things that are very well known to people who are working in this area. Language. We do not have robust language technology in all the languages of this country that we might want to address. The second was the kind of resource constraints that might, stop us from building applications in certain ways. Another thing was the user interfaces. We cannot have, out of cultural context, out of context kind of interfaces, etc. What kind of cultural knowledge is required by the application developers and deployers to make this speak to the people on the ground. And then we kind of looked at the fact that this is such a diverse country and such a huge population, to how is it possible to go and touch as many, if not all, people in the country. People have no access right now. And then we looked at the ecosystem around it, and what we thought was that here are so many intermediaries who have access to some technology, right? And if we enable those intermediaries, then they in turn can enable all the people that they touch. The outreach of these intermediaries is immense. We still have to solve all those problems for language, resource, etc., but we don't have to solve it at an individual level. So what do I mean by intermediaries? If we are enabling teachers, we already enable students, right? If we are enabling frontline health workers, we are enabling all the people that they are serving, right? If we are enabling farmer entrepreneurs, hopefully that will go out to all the farmers that they are in touch with. So that has been our model with Vellum. There's just one thing that I will say only half in jest. A lot of the AI thinking, like, AI application thinking, is around empowering an individual. Our culture in this country is not individualistic, whatever we might think in this room, right? It is very community-based, right? And it is not a culture of DIY, do it yourself. And I'm borrowing this from my colleague, Saikat Guha. He says, we are a DIFM, do it for me culture, right? Because in a community, I'm not going to do my taxes as well as like go and do my shopping as well as do my banking. I'm not an individual. I will have someone in my community, oh, this cousin is very good at doing taxes, that cousin is going to do everybody's taxes. This person is very good at doing, he has knowledge of investment, this person is going to be everybody's investment consultant. So we have to, think what works in our culture, and therefore this whole intermediary approach is what we felt would be much better.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that, Kalika. Nand Kumarum, sir, the India AI mission, of course, represents a significant commitment to building AI infrastructure in the country. Could you please tell us your vision about the India AI datasets platform, and how do you think that will reshape AI development in India for so many startups and researchers who may be in the audience today?
Yeah, thank you. So the India AI dataset platform, there are many components in India AI mission, and the dataset platform is largely, it is carrying 3-4 things with itself. One is we are trying to bring data of government, private, and otherwise available data sets. So when we say take example of voice. Now, as you know, most of the states have helplines. So helplines can be for an ambulance, it can be for a police vehicle, or it can be a, say, citizen grievance helpline. So there is a annotated data set for various districts that originate from there and lands in a server of that helplines ecosystem. Now that data set can be brought in after due diligence and PI protection, DPDP compliance into this system and made available to larger startup ecosystem or academia so that they can try something. The conversation around AI, I'm not a technical person, but what I see is when you say 2 to the power something, 10 to the power something, you know, the problems that people face or they want to be solved is not so many. If say, for example, maybe my problem is just traffic maybe today, how I return to the place and I meet my friend. I don't have 1,000 problems in my mind today, hardly 10 or 100. So is life of an individual. So if you try to zero in on a problem and solve that, and with that intent, if you start thinking and solving the problem, say somebody is applying for a service or say a problem set. So then there are finite set of problem sets. So finite set of data sets may be able to solve the problem. The academically and research-wise and futuristic approach, this generalist and general AI and that kind of GPT kind of approach or say LLM approach is very good. Please pursue that, and we'll be very happy to have something great coming from this ecosystem. But as far as day-to-day life of a person is concerned, it is very small, finite problem sets. So the way I see is that we run 2 products. One is DigiLocker. I mean, a few of you might have seen it. And another is API Setu. So what we see is that this API economy, so API economy is something which we want to catalyze through this dataset platform. So suppose there are 36 states and union territories, and there is a congregation of APIs at different states and union territories, and federated system there is a API Setu which has say today 6,000 plus APIs. So this N by N is happening in a state UT, and then at a bigger subset at union level, and this is available for the market to perform or say build some application. Say, let me give you an example, scholarship application. If I want to build a scholarship application, so you have 4 inputs, say 10th mark sheet or 12th mark sheet from CBSE, 12th from some another board, college, another board, and like this you will have 3-4 certificates coming in. Somebody will say attendance, somebody will say merit performance. So there are so many documents coming in, and then you have an algorithm. Purely speaking, even SQL can handle it. You don't need AI, but this is a problem for people, right? And there is a premium, there is a market which can be served. So the previous speaker, I was just listening that if the reasoning part, reasoning might not be necessarily in LLM route. Reasoning can be, if you can reason it beforehand, maybe you can structure the problem set and solve the problem and get paid in return, and that money gives you an opportunity to expand your R&D envelope. So what I will think is, it's a bit of incremental approach, not very, I will say, very futuristic thinking. But if somebody is trying to place a product at this place, it will give them some cash. So in AI mission, what we are trying to do is we are trying to put some models in place, put some data sets in place, put some researchers in place. We want to catalyze the writing, report writing, and it is not always case study or a 50 top journal paper, but the problem statements, use case, solutions, some good papers. So we will incentivize those people who want to build on top of that. So these 4 or 5 components we'll try to build, and we are hopeful that in 2025, by March, it will be up and running. The first MVP will be up and running, and it will be available for people to use.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Manish, I have been dreaming about Project Extra since I saw the demo, and this idea of a universal agent that can solve all the information asymmetry problems we see in our day-to-day. Could you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing there and the larger vision that DeepMind has on how we will use AI in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, so Astra is part of this, is a great research technology that's been built. Because, I mean, if you look at the natural evolution of these conversational agents, right? I mean, typing is not right now, right? When we're communicating, you're not typing your question, messaging your question to me. You're directly giving it to me. And I'm not like closing my eyes and simply hearing what you're saying. I'm actually looking at you and so on. So these are the natural interactions, right, that we are used to. So if you truly want an AI agent to help, it has to support that natural form of communication through all modalities, and where this agent is also able to understand the context that you are in, where am I sitting, and so on. So Astra is such an agent, right, that the Google DeepMind team has built. There have been various demos. I would encourage you to check out some of those demos. And to us, again, even that is just the beginning, right, of really amazing capabilities that ultimately will be in some sense, right, behind each and every individual. So earlier, I used to dream about, let's say, that girl in Chhattisgarh, to have her get access to the same level of information as you and I. Now I dream about her being able to do, empowered with such agents, right, work that is equivalent to, let's say, what might be Nobel Prize winning equivalent work in today's terms, maybe into the future. Because when you have that power, right, of a universal agent that's armed with the entire world's knowledge, you can use that power to support learning. You can use that power to support, let's say, a particular scientific exploration. You can use that power to keep you healthier, and so many different ways. So again, I think sky's the limit in terms of the potential for humans to achieve things when supported by really, really powerful universal agents.
Fascinating. Thank you for that. Kalika, like all good people in the AI ecosystem, I read everything that you put out and MSR puts out. I want to talk about specifically the DOSA paper that you put out. It's truly fascinating, and this call for community-centered research participation in the NLP space being crucial in a country as diverse as ours. When we think about building truly representative AI, what sort of research practices do you think we should all be following, and what are general wisdoms you may have there?
Oh, that's how much time have you got? So that's like a question that I can go on and on and on. But there are a couple of things that I have learned over my, last however many decades of research career in this space. And one is, I cannot stress this enough, be very humble. Humility goes a long way. If you go out there and say, I am this AI scientist, big shot, I am a technologist, I know everything. I will build this amazing technology for you which will solve everything for you. I'm going to change your life, I'm God. You're not going to get. You have to get to the level where you are willing and actually looking forward to the people who are your users, potential users, customers, are telling you, this is what I need, this is my problem, yeah, this is what I need to solve, need you to solve. And sometimes it can be like really something really non-exciting as a technologist. And I have said this example before, working with low resource language communities, we tend to put them all in a single bag. And this is like, I have a little bit of a problem with even population scale, because when you say population scale, you assume a very homogeneous population, right? Whereas it's a very diverse population. We say low resource language communities as if they are all the same, right? If you're talking about Gondi, which is a low resource language community, right? The needs of the people of that community are very different from one of the northeastern languages from Arunachal that we worked on, which was Idumishimi, right? The people there actually at the end of it wanted a dictionary, a digital dictionary. That's what they wanted help with. As an NLP researcher, as a technologist, why should I make a dictionary? This is not like worth my time, right? I am this big shot person. Why will I do a dictionary? But that's what they need. So, think about what is it that you're trying to solve for. So that's one of my, utmost learnings from here, that you have to solve for a problem that is really there, that pinches the people, not some imagined problem of your own. And we were having this discussion in the room earlier. I was in Bihar talking to some women farmers, and there was this whole bunch of developers who were developing apps for them, right? And the women farmers, They were very astute. They all have, smartphones and everything. And they were sitting there, and this one particular person was saying, he's gamified the app, right? Gamification is such a cool thing to do. Let's make everything a game. And he's telling these women, wouldn't you like to play this amazing game, and then you'll win this star and something which will lead you to win, some nugget of information that will be useful to them. I cannot even replicate the expression on those women's faces. They were like, we are so, we are hardworking people. One of them finally said, do you think we have time to play these games? Really? So, listen to the people. That's the most important thing.
I really appreciate that. And I think that's just amazing, absolutely. Nand Kumarum sir, the last question for you. NeGD has, of course, done a phenomenal job with initiatives like Umang, My Scheme, DigiLocker. And you briefly touched on this, but how do you see AI accelerating the delivery of these customer-centric, like government services to our people? And how do you think AI can help just improve that experience further?
So, what we are seeing is that the agents that people are building, or any model, say voice or something that is coming, that will start becoming part of our applications by and by. For example, simple bot. Say today, if somebody wants to know the rule position or a law related to some item held on, say, in an airport, that where should I go to? Very simple problem. I was coming and this was not duty paid or something happened on the airport. You need somebody to go to and some action, something. So these applications will start featuring all this. For example, on My Scheme and this, we have put some bot. And this starts getting converted into actions. So as you are seeing, say, for example, SAP will have its own bot, or Oracle ERP will have its own bot. And these bots will start getting more and more powerful. So what we see is that the conventional applications that we have, they will start going to background, and these bots will start coming to forefront, as we have in case of UPI. Nobody goes to a bank application for payment or utility payment. So we see that in government applications, though they will continue to exist, but gradually these interfaces will be replaced by these smart bots, multilingual and all action oriented, and they will start delivering services to people, and people will be largely pulling documents in these ecosystem and getting services.
Love that. I'll take one final question for everyone on the panel, which is, what is one thing you hope to see in the Indian AI ecosystem in the coming year? And maybe we can take 15 seconds each or something like that. Manish, we'll start with you.
To me, acceleration of science. I think what holds back India often is not lack of talent, nor lack of money. It's really lack of ambition. And again, last month's Nobel Prizes, right, ought to be like that signal that today AI can accelerate scientific discovery at a scale, right, that you could not even imagine. Take any large problem today, right, be it clean energy, material design, drug discovery, and so on. AI is being used, right, to really dramatically accelerate scientific discovery. I hope people in India, our researchers in India, wake up to that potential and start pursuing that.
We are in Bangalore. Bangalore has solved problem for India, for abroad. I believe problem solution will come from you. I have only one advice for all of you. Talk to each other with humility. There is a lot to learn from each other. Please keep your eyes open and speak to each other.
Kalika.
Yeah, I think for me it would be some kind of a consolidation. Right now I feel that we have such talent, but there's such a frittering of talent. Like everybody, there are 30 people trying the same thing, or like 30,000 people trying the same thing, which is great when you're just starting off, but then at some point there has to be some consolidation. So I hope like that kind of a thing happens.
With that, all four of us are hiring, I'm sure. But thank you so much for this evening. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Kalika. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manish.